Hi everyone and welcome to a review video on Arun Sharma's VARC book for cat. I have already made two review videos before. One was for Arun Sharma Quant's book and one was for logical reasoning. So this is the third video which was requested a lot, and in this video we are going to talk about what this book actually contains and how can you use it in case you're preparing for the VARC section. Okay, so when we start off with the book, the first thing that we're going to see is the frequency analysis table, which shows that reading comprehension, para jumbles, para completion, sentence correction, odd one out, and critical reasoning questions or summary questions are the most relevant type of questions that keep appearing. So this will help you understand what are the topics that you need to prepare for the CAT exam. And moving on to the index now. So this book has been broadly divided into four parts. Part 1 contains how you can build your reading comprehension solving ability. So a lot of theory is shared here. I'm going to talk about it in detail and how that's relevant. But part 2 contains verbal ability, mostly regarding vocabulary, regarding antonyms, synonyms, odd one outs, all these kind of things are there. And after that, you get to the sections that appear in the CAT exam, which is sentence completion, para jumbles, sentence correction, and fact inference and judgment based questions. Part 3 is verbal reasoning, which is mostly critical reasoning. And critical reasoning questions don't appear in the CAT nowadays, but they used to be popular earlier. So as you can see, the previous year questions are till 2004 only, which shows that these questions don't appear now. And part 4 is basically the previous year CAT papers. So this is all about the index, and now let's talk about the first part. Okay, so I haven't come across any book or coaching institute so far which explains or details how to solve reading comprehensions. There are not a lot of reading material out there which explain how reading comprehensions are written from the point of view of authors, what are the different types of questions, how they are to be approached, as well as how you can increase your reading speed. But the best part about this book is that it has about 80 pages of theory for you to go through and understand how to solve reading comprehensions. Yes, I repeat, about 80 pages. And trust me, this is not an endorsed video. I'm only saying this because I've used this book personally. So if you go through this, you'll be able to see how the author explains different kinds of reading passages are structured. In the second part of this theory portion, the author has talked about the 7 dimensions of reading and how can you improve your reading speed. And in the third part, he talks about the theory of reading comprehensions. So basically, how you can improve your comprehension ability when it comes to reading comprehensions. But the fourth part is the part where you need to spend the most amount of time on, which is some sample RCs which have been solved by the author. Now, the way it has been done is that this is like, let's say, a CAT passage. The author asks you to go through it first, and then he takes you through the passage as if you are reading it with him. So, after every line, the author would suggest what is the mindset going here and how are you supposed to think when you're reading a passage. How does transition look like when one paragraph ends and another one starts? How should you think about it? And after that, the author talks about 4 options and why each of the options is correct or not. So this is what I called as rational building, which I've mentioned so many times in my VRC videos, that it is not only important to know why an option is correct, but also important to know why an incorrect option is incorrect. So this is what you need to do going forward in all the RCs that you solve on your own. And in order to build that ability, I would highly recommend you to go through each and every solved RC in this portion. That is going to develop a habit of yours to do it automatically in the upcoming RCs. After you have gone through this portion, then comes the level of difficulty 1 and 2 as well as the previous year CAT RCs. So would highly recommend you to solve both of them. Don't skip any passage in here. Just keep solving 3 to 5 passages every single day. After which you start off with the second part, which is verbal ability. Now, I would be very frank here. This portion has a lot of redundancy and you don't need to go through every element in here. For example, the words and phrases that often confuse you, about vocabulary, the entire section is of no use in the CAT exam. Synonyms, antonyms, all these things are not relevant because they are not directly asked. If you have a lot of time at hand, you're probably in your first year, You can probably go through it, I don't mind, but if you are a serious cat aspirant and you are running short of time, then I would recommend you to skip this portion. You can also skip section 3, which is fill in the blanks and sentence completion. They are not really a part of the CAT exam, at least they don't come in this format. What occurs is more of paragraph completion. But you can start off with paragraph jumbles, that are also called as para jumbles. That is a very frequently occurring and a pain in the whatever section, because it takes a lot of time to master para jumbles. I have created a video on it as well if you would want to watch it, but go ahead and check out the para jumbles. You start off with the theory portion, it's only limited but will certainly help you. Then come some solved examples, after which are the type 1, 2 and 3 questions that you can practice. So would highly recommend you to go through them, solve the previous year CAT questions as well. Para jumbles occur since the past so many years and have been coming in the exam. So definitely give it a go. Then is section 5, which is sentence correction. Then are fact, inference, and judgment based questions. And finally, you will also have paragraph completion or odd one outs that I would highly recommend you to follow along with summary. So these are the kind of questions in part 2 that you should go through, but you can skip the initial part where vocab or antonyms, synonyms are given. So this is part 2. Moving on to part 3, which is verbal reasoning. So critical reasoning is a section that does not appear in the CAT exam now, but I would recommend you to still go through this section because it will help you with DILR. A lot of critical reasoning in the form of statements and understanding what they actually mean occur in the DILR section, wherein you're supposed to understand what a statement actually means. So if I say that B is sitting exactly between A and C, that exactly word makes a lot of difference, and critical reasoning helps you understand it. So my recommendation for this section will be to just brush over it and quickly go through it. It will help you in both DILR and VARC. This is taught in almost every coaching institute. No one really skips this portion, so definitely go through it. Then comes your part 4, which are some CAT papers and model test papers. So if I was at your place, I would have first gone through part A, that is theory, then part B, which is more of the types that are recently coming in the VS section, then part 3, which would help me with both DILR and VRC, and finally part 4, which is solving the previous year papers. I would not have gone through part 4 unless I was done with the previous parts. So this is the pattern that I would suggest you to follow in case you're using this book. If you have any other questions regarding this book, feel free to put them in the comments. I would also be replying to the previous video's comments shortly. And in case you want a review on the DI book, which is the only Arun Sharma book which is left for me to review, then I would be happy to do that. Let me know in the comments. If there's any other book you would want me to review as well, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video.